Hello and welcome to CIO Live here in ASEAN. My name is Chris Holmes, Editor-at-Large, and I'll be your host today. I'm pleased to welcome Ng Yi Pern, Chief Technology Officer of Far East Organisation, as part of our Leadership Live series where we talk to tech leaders across the region. So before we get started in our discussion on your digital transformation program, maybe you can just share some background on how you become a tech leader.
Right. So, sure, Chris. Yeah, and thanks for having me here today. Yeah, so I think my journey with tech started many years ago. I still recall it started during my secondary school days, where we had a computer lab and there was some 286 machines in there. I recall that I would skip recess, just so that I can secure a seat, and to learn QBasic programming. Yeah. Later on, when the school upgraded to 386 machine, I get to learn other stuff like Visual Basic and all that. And when the internet came, and that's when things got really interesting. Yeah, so I still recall hand coding HTML scripts to build simple websites, as well as writing post scripts to come up with rudimentary kind of web applications. Yeah. So I guess the great thing about tech for me is that it's never boring. There's always something new, which comes along with new ways of doing things and new problems to solve. And that's what kept me interested till this day. So naturally, when it came to my career, I gravitated towards a career in tech, right? So I started, almost 20 years ago. I started in consulting, where I began as a programmer. And over the years, I gradually moved on to do other roles, like leading application development teams, being a solution architect, being a project manager, and even business development kind of roles. About 10 years ago, I made a switch and moved to an end user environment where I've been taking up leadership roles within corporate IT. So today, I lead the group IT function within the Far East organization, where I take care of all aspects of IT. This will cover things like corporate IT solutions, like the end user computing device, office network. I also cover and drive digital initiatives, as well as take care of cybersecurity.
Fantastic. Thank you for that introduction. So maybe let's get into the meat of our discussion today, which is really around the digital transformation of Far East Organisation. So maybe you can just give us a little bit of a background as to what Far East does, and then talk about what those corporate goals were that led to that digital transformation program.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So Far East Organisation is one of the largest private property developer in Singapore, right? So we develop, we own, and we manage a diverse portfolio of real estate products. And we are in the residential, commercial, industrial, retail, and hospitality segments. So since the company's establishment more than 60 years ago, we have been contributing to the transformation of Singapore's urban landscape, right? Where we have developed more than 780,000 properties, which includes 55,000 homes. Yeah. So, we've came a long way. Yeah. So I joined the company about 4.5 years ago, right? And at that time, the IT was primarily focused on the corporate IT side of things, right? And in keeping the lights on. Yeah. But however, then, when it comes to digital transformation, right, our view then was that it is no longer an option, right? Because we see that the way we live, work, and play is increasingly being shaped by technology. Right, and no sector, no industry domain is immune from it, right? Even for essentially a brick and mortar business like us, yeah. So we recognize that we have to embrace digital, right, in order to stay relevant to our customers, and we also recognize that we have to go through this journey for each and every one of our business units. So with that in mind, we decided to take on this digital journey. Right, and we adopted the approach of taking this challenge on at a group level instead of having the individual business unit, figure things out for themselves. Yeah. So if you think about it, there's a saying that goes: if you want to run fast, you run alone, and if you want to run far, you run together. Right, and that's something I think that was very useful to us, because we think that by addressing the challenge at the group level, we believe we can come up with something that is sustainable and something that can support us in the long run. Yeah, so that's how we kind of began with this journey. Right, 4 years later, right, I think I'm kind of pleased to share that we have got some success in this approach. Right, the foundation, the technology foundation that we have put in place, in conjunction with the adoption of methodologies like agile and design thinking, has allowed us to work very closely with our business counterparts and to move at speed and at scale. Right, and over the past 4 years, I think we've delivered more than 100 different digital solutions of a very different nature. Yeah, and I'd like to think that the key for us is the selection and implementation of a few strategic technology platforms that is based on cloud technologies. Yeah. So this same set of platforms was used across all our business units, and we have used them to deliver solutions of different natures, such as digital marketing websites, web application, mobile application, robotic process automation bots, chatbots, integration workflows, and analytics workflow. Right. And the use of cloud technology has allowed us to really rapidly provision and scale our infrastructure to meet the business needs. And the adoption of standardized set of platforms for these solutions allowed us to achieve a number of things. Yeah. So we were able to achieve consistency in the user experience for both our customers and our internal staff. We were able to achieve economies of scale, right, by leveraging the same set of infrastructure and by being able to negotiate like volume license discounts. Right? We were able to reduce the time to market, right, in how we deliver these digital solutions. And lastly, but very importantly, we were able to develop shared competency. Right? So the same group of skilled technical resources was able to support many of our different business units. Yeah. So that was, how we started, right, and where we are today.
Now, very interesting, particularly that top-down approach, because again, I see both sort of bottom-up approaches and top-down approaches in terms of sort of having that that strategy for the transformation. Maybe you could just talk a little bit more about that top-down approach and how you've got this, diverse range of businesses to really sort of come together and agree on an approach going forward.
Right. Yeah. So, like I said, because we have many different diverse businesses, right? So the alignment was really very important, right? Yeah. So we had to bring everyone together and to help them see the benefits we can achieve, not just at their individual business unit level, but at a group level, right? And how that will benefit us as a whole, right? Rather than their individual interests. So one very important milestone for us was, when we were able to use this approach to deliver cross-business unit kind of digital initiatives, right? And this really, brought the approach to life and helped people to see that this is the way to go. Yeah. So this initiative that I mentioned is what we call our One Far East app, right? So it's essentially an app that was designed with the aim of providing a one-stop digital platforms for our customers for them to perform property-related transactions in a seamless, convenient manner. Right. So with a single login, regardless of how many properties the customer buy or rent from us, he will be able to do a lot of different tasks, right? Such as retrieving important documents like a sales and purchase agreement, tenancy agreement, floor plans, manuals for the appliances, and so on and so forth. He'll be able to book facilities, he'll be able to submit feedback, submit requests for help, submit various kinds of application forms. He will be able to look up the invoices and make electronic payment. He'll be able to register for exclusive events that we organize for our customers. Yeah. So all these and many, many more. So with this app, we think that it has better positioned us to deliver on our brand promise, right? Which is innovation, customer centricity, and trustworthiness, right? And we also like to think that we have helped to elevate the customer experience. And in addition, apart from this being great for our customers, the platform also serves as a common platform where many of our different operational units, right, ranging from the property leasing executive to engineering department, customer service department, finance, IT, and all of us can come together in an effective manner to address the needs of the customers. Yeah. So this is one example of a digital initiative we did, which was enabled through the approach that we took at a group level.
Fantastic, fantastic, very interesting. So, I mean, interestingly, you said that you sort of came in and IT was very much focused around corporate IT sort of 4 years ago, and now you've sort of transformed, you've got this application in place. I mean, how has the IT organisation had to change to sort of embrace this much wider usage of technology?
Right. Yeah. So we had to make some sort of cultural change, right? I like to think that there was a fundamental shift in the mindset of the IT department. And that shift, I think, occurred from two different perspectives. The first mindset shift is regards to how we see ourselves. So I guess in the past, we see ourselves as more of an internal service provider, right? Where we take orders from the users that we serve, and we try to do them in an efficient manner, right? Yeah. So pretty much a very transactional kind of IT function. Yeah. So what we did is we now strive to become a business partner and an ally to our business stakeholders, right? Where we work very closely with them, right? We strategize and we drive change with them, and we do this change in how we engage our customers and how we run our internal operations. Yeah. So I think that mindset shift, right, where we change from being just an order taker to someone who works as a peer, as an ally to our business stakeholders, I think that was very important for us. Yeah. The second shift, I would say, is this realization that we have, where we think that ultimately it's all about people, right? It's all about our customers, it's all about our colleagues and partners that we work with, right? So we strive to inspire better lives for both our customers and our colleagues, right, through the work that we do, right? And we like to think that this has served us well. Right? So whenever we design or deploy a solution, right, how it impacts people, how it impacts our stakeholders, how it makes their lives better, is always in our mind. And we like to think that this has helped us to deliver, practical and useful solutions over the years.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you've seen a fundamental shift over the last 4 years from sort of, as I say, back end to this transformation effort. What's next?
Right. Yeah. So, like we mentioned earlier, right, technology is never boring, right? Something new always comes along, right? So I think, while, ourselves and our peers in this real estate industry, we have made quite good strides, right, over the past few years in terms of digital transformation. But if we are honest with ourselves, we still see a lot of room for improvement in many, many different areas, right? One example that I would bring up is in the area of smart offices and smart homes, right? Yeah. So if you look back over the years, there's really a very significant increase, right, in the number of products in the market, right, that offers different ways of integrating mobile apps or wireless technologies and sensors and all that to do different things. And there's also a very significant increase in the number of people who own such devices. It looks like the market, the consumers are warming up to such technologies. Yeah. However, we think that the market remains extremely fragmented, extremely. Yeah. So what we see is that there are a lot of different products. You have to jump through hoops, right? Many different hoops, right, to figure out how to get them to work together, right? If at all it's possible, right? Sometimes it's just not possible to get them to talk together, and you end up having to deal with many different products, many different apps, and you have to learn many different ways of using them. Yeah. So we think that that's not very ideal, and hopefully in time to come, an industry standard will emerge Yeah, so I think in recent times there's this standard called Method, right? Which seems to be very promising. Yeah. So hopefully, with enough widespread adoption of these industry standards, where we have many different appliances from many different manufacturers adopting the same standards, it will give us a better chance, right, to develop a truly connected home or office, right, that will elevate the living experience for our customers.
Yeah, very interesting. That integration, everything coming together. It's yeah, I think I can definitely see that moving to the future. So,
Right.
one last question I have to ask you: what
Okay.
technology are you most excited about moving forward?
Oh, I think these days everyone is talking about generative AI, right? Yeah, so we see that there are so many use cases, so many people experimenting with generative AI. Yeah. So I certainly think that there's a lot of potential, right? That we are just at the starting stage, where people are still figuring out how to use it, and how to use it in a secure and a safe manner, right? Right, where we use it for ethical means rather than other stuff. And so that I think is really interesting. It's something that we want to look into to see how we can use this to even further improve our customer experience in our internal operations.
That's great. Thanks, Hupern. That's all we've got time for today. But thanks once again for sharing your journey and your experience in digital transformation, and also that glimpse as to what is the future of digital real estate.
Right.
So that concludes today's CIO ASEAN interview. My name is Chris Holmes, and I've been talking to Ung Yee Pern, Chief Technology Officer at Far East Organisation. If anyone's got any questions or comments, please reach out to me on LinkedIn.